growing up, we had lots of rules to follow. I remember some of those. We had to keep our room clean. We had to make our bed every morning. If anything that we put on our plate, we had to eat it before we could get up. Whenever we came in from school, I remember in elementary school, we had a magnolia tree. And whenever we came in from school, my brother and I were required to pick up all of the leaves that had fallen out of that magnolia tree before we could play with our neighbors. Like I said, there was one in the front yard, one in the backyard, and it seemed like magnolia leaves fell all of the time. My brother and I, we made an agreement as young boys that we were not ever going to plant a magnolia tree in our yard. Rules. Well, my name is Richard Coleman, and I'm the pastor at Shepherd Church of the Nazarene in Lexington, South Carolina, and it's great to be able to spend just a few moments with you today. I've been looking in the book of Judges, and I've seen the book of Judges where God has told the Israelites, if you will serve me, if you will not have any other gods before me, I will protect you, I will take care of you, no other force will be able to come against you. Well, the Israelites didn't do that. And because of that, an invading people came in, the Philistines, and they became the rulers over the Israelites, and they made life very hard for the Israelites. Well, this had been going on for about 40 years. And the Israelites started calling out to God and asking God to come and help them and deliver them from this foreign group of people that had come in. And so God heard their prayer, and God decided to answer their prayer. And God started something into motion. It was going to be, I guess you would say, a long-range plan where God was going to create a deliverer and have that person deliver them in His time. And so God sent an angel to a woman. Her husband's name was Manoah, and the angel came to the woman first and then to the husband second and revealed to them that they were going to have a son. And the angel said there's some very specific things that you need to do in order for this plan to work. God will expect you, the woman, to not drink any wine during her pregnancy. And also, she was instructed that she could not eat any of the foods that had been declared by God to be unclean for the Israelites. Well, they did this. The woman went through her entire pregnancy, and she did not drink any wine. She did not eat any unclean food. The time for delivery came, and she delivered a healthy young boy, and they named him Samson. Well, I'll stop there with the story, but the point that I'd like to make here is the fact that they followed God's rules. The rules were not complicated. They were only good for them. It wasn't anything at all that would hurt them. And it's the same thing in our life. God has rules for us, not to give us a hard time, not to make life difficult for us. God gives us rules to benefit us. I think of a lot of people that I've talked to, and they tell me the reason they would not want to be a Christian is because they would have to give up too much, that they would have to start following God's rules. And I do my very best to try to explain to them, and as I'm trying to explain to you today, if you're not aware of this, that those rules are only for our good. Probably an old story that I might could relate to you. I'm sure you've heard it before, but it just seems to fit here. But it's the story of an old, rich man, and he was fairly mean. And had someone that owed him money, and he went to that person and said, "You need to pay me back the money that you owe me." And he said, "I don't have it. I can't give it to you." And the old man said, "Well, here's what I'll do." He said, "You have a young daughter, if you will let me marry your young daughter, I'll forgive your debt. And so the dad went to his daughter, they discussed it, and the daughter agreed that she was willing to do that to keep her dad from going to jail. And so the young daughter, the old man, they got married. Well, every day when the old man went to go to work, he would leave his young wife a list of things to do. To wash the windows, to wash the clothes, to mop the floor. There was a list of things that he left for her to do. And every day when she did it, she would just hate the list that he had made for her, the rules that he had given her. When she was washing the windows, she was just hating washing the windows. Washing the dishes, she just grumbled the whole time she washed the dishes. Mopping the floor, it was just a terrible thing. Well, as time would have it, the old man died. After a few years went by, this young girl, she met someone her own age, and she fell in love with him, and they got married. And she became a housewife, and he would go off to work. And one day, as she was washing the dishes and singing along and enjoying her life, it dawned on her that she was still washing the windows and mopping the floor and washing the dishes, but she loved doing it. It was a joy. And she wondered, what's the difference? And she realized that the difference was that she loved the person that she was doing it for. And you see, that's the way it is with the rules that God has given us. He wants us to love Him so much that we enjoy doing these things. You see, the 10 Commandments, the first 4 commandments are just about loving God. The last 6 commandments are about loving others and getting along with others. And that's the reason why when they went to Jesus and they said, Jesus, tell us one commandment. If we can just do one of them really, really well, which one would you pick? What's the most important commandment? And Jesus didn't pick one of the 10. Jesus said the most important commandment is to love the Lord your God with all of your heart, soul, mind, and strength. And then he said, you didn't ask me, but I'm going to tell you the second most, and it's just as important, and that's to love your neighbors as yourself. See, Jesus just took the 10 commandments and he just wrapped them up into those 2 simple things, love God and love others. You see, the rules that God gave us are for us to have the very best that we can have, to have the best life that we can possibly have, and through that, we're able to live our life and love God and love others. Well, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May His face shine upon you. May you be able to go this week and truly obey the laws that God has given us and enjoy doing it. Thanks for taking the time and watching today.